Advertisement of Mary, a Fiction. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Mary, a Fiction, by Mary Wollstonecraft. Advertisement. In delineating the heroine of this fiction, the author attempts to develop a character different from those generally portrayed. This woman is neither a Clarissa, a Lady G, nor a Sophie. It would be vain to mention the various modifications of these models, as it would to remark how widely artists wander from nature when they copy the originals of great masters. They catch the gross parts, but the subtle spirit evaporates, and not having the just ties, affectation disgusts, when grace was expected to charm. Those compositions only have power to delight and carry us willing captives, where the soul of the author is exhibited and animates the hidden springs. Lost in a pleasing enthusiasm, they live in the scenes they represent, and do not measure their steps in a beaten track, solicitous to gather expected flowers and bind them in a wreath, according to the prescribed rules of art. Those chosen few wish to speak for themselves, and not to be an echo, even of the sweetest sounds, or the reflector of the most sublime beams. The paradise they ramble in must be of their own creating, or the prospect soon grows insipid, and, not varied by a vivifying principle, fades and dies. In an artless tale, without episodes, the mind of a woman who has thinking powers is displayed. The female organs have been thought too weak for this arduous employment, and experience seems to justify the assertion. Without arguing physically about possibilities, in a fiction such a being may be allowed to exist, whose grandeur is derived from the operations of its own faculties, not subjugated to opinion, but drawn by the individual from the original source. End of advertisement. Chapter 1 of Mary, a Fiction, by Mary Wollstonecraft. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 1. Mary, the heroine of this fiction, was the daughter of Edward, who married Eliza, a gentle, fashionable girl with a kind of indolence in her temper, which might be termed negative good nature. Her virtues, indeed, were of all that stamp. She carefully attended to the shows of things, and her opinions, I should have said prejudices, were such as the generality approved of. She was educated with the expectation of a large fortune, of course became a mere machine. The homage of her attendants made a great part of her puerile amusements, and she never imagined there were any relative duties for her to fulfill. Notions of her own consequence by these means were interwoven in her mind, and the years of youth spent in acquiring a few superficial accomplishments without having any taste for them. When she was first introduced into the polite circle, she danced with an officer, whom she faintly wished to be united to, but her father soon after recommending another in a more distinguished rank of life, she readily submitted to his will, and promised to love, honor, and obey, a vicious fool, as in duty bound. While they resided in London, they lived in the usual fashionable style, and seldom saw each other. Nor were they much more sociable when they wooed rural felicity for more than half the year in a delightful country, where nature, with lavish hand, had scattered beauties around. For the master, with brute, unconscious gaze, passed them by unobserved, and sought amusement in country sports. He hunted in the morning, and after eating in a moderate dinner, generally fell asleep. This seasonable rest enabled him to digest the cumbrous load. He would then visit some of his pretty tenants, and when he compared their ruddy glow of health with his wife's countenance, which even rouge could not enliven, it is not necessary to say which a gourmand would give the preference to. Their vulgar dance of spirits were infinitely more agreeable to his fancy than her sickly, die-away languor. Her voice was but the shadow of a sound, and she had, to complete her delicacy, so relaxed her nerves that she became a mere nothing. Many such
Sample complete. Ready to continue?